Head into the unknown.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I believe it's Sunday today. I haven't been live and it seems like a long time. I had a very busy week. I got called into work, so I've been away. Then I did a lot of traveling and just for work. And yeah, so now I'm back trying to, it's not like I hadn't kept up, but you know, there's been updates and then they pull back updates and then they put more updates out and then they take back updates and then everybody's kicked out of Nancy's neighborhood for parking and they have to walk in and people are kind of scattered all over the place. So I don't I don't really know what to talk about when it comes to Nancy's case, but we're going to look at some of the stuff a little later on. But to start with, we're going to look at we're going to talk Jeffrey Epstein again. And I remember a number of years ago hearing about Virginia Jeffrey. I want to say that's how you say her name. And that's when like this stuff first started coming out. And was it during the lockdown or before the lockdown? It must have been before because I think Epstein went to jail in 2019, I want to say. And it was because of this woman that she's known as the whistleblower. And so a few days ago, I caught an episode of um, 60 Minutes Australia, and the stuff in that episode was heartbreaking. And so I wanted to tell her story today, or at least look into her because obviously I don't know her story that well. But a lot of the stuff that's talked about when it comes to Virginia is about Epstein, but there's so much more to this woman. And I think it's important that we look at her and how this whole thing started and maybe look at her kind of as a little bit of a hero in all of this. Um, so that's kind of what I want to do today. And then later on today, I heard last night one of my mods told me that there's a candlelight vigil in Arizona, in Tucson for Nancy. There are probably a number of people streaming it. And so I thought that we would break into one of those streams and watch it together. I find you can go into the bigger channels, but you can't chat and or you can, but nobody's going to see your comments because the chat moves so fast. So I would like to do it here just a little bit calmer, slower, um, so that everybody can have, their opinions and their thoughts and be acknowledged. So with that, let's say hi to some people. Blue Jay, thank you. Hopefully you're able to be here while you're at work. Don't get fired. Seaweed, thanks for coming. Hey, Gran. And just the facts, ma'am. Awesome to see you. Hey, Belinda. And it's good to see everybody saying hi. Hey, Kimber. Yeah, I missed everybody too. I just, mm, so busy and just tired. I don't know. It's March. I made it. It's March, you guys. It's March. I made it. This is my last month up here in what can only be described as, well, I can't say that on YouTube, but I've heard, I was in Fox Creek for so long, and it was referred to as the armpit of Alberta because it just stinks. And I believe that where I am now could very well be the asshole of Alberta. But I get to leave at the end of this month, so it's good. Yeah, it's been a while. And I apologize, I just so much going on and just tired, tired, tired. And hey, Carol, good to see you. Just so you know, I don't know if Mona or Lynn are here, but hoodies got sent out, and I'm looking at ordering just some t-shirts to do more giveaways, but I'll decide. And I can't decide what I want on the t-shirts. We'll see. Jesse, good to see you. Hey, she spoke out in 2011. Thank you. I knew it was a long time ago, but oh, Streamlabs, my nemesis. I forgot about that. But Melissa is still working with YouTube. She might get her channel back. So I was going to take this off, but I think I'm going to leave it just in case she gets her channel back. I know she might get her channel back. Hey, Catter, good to see you. I didn't, just so you know though, I didn't turn on Streamlabs. I don't know how it works, what's going on. So I don't know. It's not my fault. Um, Kaylee, good to see you. Hey, Roots, thanks for coming. Who else? Yeah, and I left my door open. Harley will be coming down pretty soon, I'm sure. You didn't like Fox Creek? Me either. I spent 23 years there. So, yeah. Hey, Missy. And Marie, good to see you. Late, sorry, did not get a notification. That's why, like, a couple of people told me they didn't get notifications. That's why I sent the link out to some people, hopefully to get, um, you know, I mean, I'm not overly concerned with views, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk to one person when we can just have a phone conversation, if that makes sense. So I'm glad to see there are a number of people here. So let's get started. This here is my thumbnail that I've got beside me. I don't know which way it goes. For me, it's over here. Um, so the lady here that's Virginia. And I want to pull up this search page that I have on her. Well, it's basically the page we're going to be looking at everything. And I'm going to go ahead and share the audio on the page just in case we skip over to a YouTube or something. I think I have to take that off, move that up, and I'll make it bigger. I promise I will. So this here is Virginia, and I thought the best just overview is to click on her wiki page and just read through it to explain to everybody who she is. Let me know if you've heard of her, if you know anything about her, because like I said, that 60 minutes Australia episode was an eye opener because everybody thinks she is just not just, but she is the Jeffrey Epstein whistleblower. And unfortunately, she took her own life last April of 2025, which is shocking that she's not around to see what she started. Um, so let's learn a little bit more about Virginia, shall we? Um, so she was born in, I believe, Sacramento. She was an Australian and American advocate for survivors of sex trafficking and one of the most prominent accusers of Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey provided detailed allegations to media outlets about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. She alleged that Epstein ran a trafficking ring, outsourcing girls for sexual services. And I think we can all remember the photo of the former Prince Andrew. with his arm around a very young looking blonde girl. This is that blonde girl, right? I know what you're getting at because there have been a lot of people who have ended their own lives. And I get it. I get it. I'm with you. In March of 2011, Jeffrey first described meeting Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to the Daily Mail, who reported there was no suggestion of sexual contact. And did everybody see his interview? What the heck? Um, no, I mean, there's so much when it comes to this woman and her contact with the ex or former Prince Andrew. Uh, it's disturbing to the max. Um, so the same month, Jeffrey was interviewed by the FBI, where she alleged that Epstein and Maxwell had trafficked her to men, including Andrew. She publicly accused Andrew of raping her on 3 different occasions in a 2019 BBC interview, shifting public opinion against the prince. Andrew denied the allegations. In 2021, she filed the civil suit against him, and the lawsuit was settled in February 2022. Andrew paid Jeffrey an undisclosed amount, which I heard it was $11 million, made a donation to her charity, denied wrongdoing, and settled without admission of liability. Do we normally pay millions of dollars to somebody falsely accusing us if we're truly innocent? I think not. I think not. Um, Virginia pursued criminal and civil action against Epstein and Maxwell. In 2015, she sued Maxwell for defamation. The case was settled in 2017 for an undisclosed sum. Again, in 2015, Virginia founded the Victims Refuse Silence, a United States-based nonprofit organization supporting survivors of abuse, which relaunched as Speak Out Act Reclaim, or SOAR, in 2021. In 2014, she claimed that Andrew Dershowitz, or Alan Dershowitz, I know that name, sexually abused her, which he denied, and then in 2022 retracted those claims. And when we say retracted those claims, she went back and said she couldn't, I believe she couldn't recall, she couldn't say for sure that it was him. Um, can I ask you about Daniel's court tomorrow? Do you know what time are we going to be able to go into? Thanks. Um, so just really quickly, I will say that Daniel's court appearance, I can look it up really quickly, but I think it's at 9 a.m. It should be public. So, like, I mean, public should be able to get into the courtroom because it doesn't involve children. Having said that, it is my complete speculation and guess, but based on what I know, I don't think the hearing will last more than 5 minutes. We don't know for sure that he's been appointed a public defender. We don't know. We don't know anything. So I think that it's going to be very quick. Anybody in any of these proceedings, the hearings, um, if you're planning on going to try to get a glimpse of Daniel or Malaya, I don't think Malaya will be at any of these hearings. Um, she would have to appear in some fashion to a trial if a trial were to take place. But other than that, she wouldn't have to. And I do not think he's going to be held. I think he'll appear for 5 minutes and be let go. So probably not a whole lot to see. Just that's my opinion. Why are you questioning Princess Diana's death? What? His interview was beyond cringeworthy. It was so terrible. So the behavior panel back in the day did an episode on it, and Scott Rouse, I believe, he did another one just the other day, and it was he kind of made light of it, but in a to me a fascinating way. Like these men, I think they're very smart, and go ahead and watch it. Maybe we'll watch it after if you want, but it was good. And I think it was only like 8 or 12 minutes long, this one that Scott roasted, but it was based on their one that they did before. Um, so many, and it's people like seaweed that I'm gonna lean on for the direction to go with that J drive. And we're gonna get into it. I know that we looked at the J mail, and I didn't realize I use Google Drive for all of my clients. I've got 8 different clients, and they each have I created their own Google Drive for each one, and it's secure enough. I mean, it's just there's nothing like overly confidential in them, but so I'm well aware of how Google Drive works, but I had no idea that they did the same thing with the Gmail. So we're going to look at that. It makes it go because going through the Department of Justice's files is painstaking. It is so tedious to try to find stuff. What they've done with this site is phenomenal. So we're going to look through it together. Thank you, Roots. 9:30. It's open court. Beautiful. Little black bear. Thank you for being here. Usually just a plea. My information tells me that he won't even have to enter a plea. Tomorrow he could stand down, stand silent, stand down, however we want to say it. He basically doesn't enter a plea, and the judge just takes that as a unspoken not guilty plea. However, I think it's going to be more of a appointing legal aid, appointing a public defender so he can discuss his options. That's what I think is going to happen. Whoever's going, take lots of pics if you're gonna go. Yeah, just don't get caught taking pictures inside the courtroom. Ever, 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 ever. You'll be banned for life. Little black bear, thank you so much. That's very nice of you. Thank you for representing. I suggest, and I mean, this is just my own thing, and this is for all the people that are local. If you want to do something, if you want to be voices for Jack and Lily, my suggestion is to do a peaceful a demonstration, just a peaceful protest, a peaceful gathering on the steps of the courthouse there. Outside, you're not there to cause a ruckus. You're just there to represent the unrepresented, if that makes sense. But remember, these charges are not connected to Jack and Lily's case on its face. So, saw a clip of Diana today. I think she was ready to talk. Okay. Didn't see you changed your name, Seaweed. She did that, I think, the last time I did a stream. It was great. Lots of people autocorrected to seaweed, so I thought it'd be easier. Oh my God, there's the next one. Seafood. That's the next one. Promise you and everyone we will represent greatly. That's fantastic. And if if anybody feels like they'd want to live stream, um, I don't know how that would work. Maybe even just take a short video. Because remember, you guys, not only is tomorrow Daniel's hearing for his charges, but tomorrow is the 10-month mark. No, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It's the 10-month mark. So there's a good reason to be there and to represent Jack and Lily. Whether or not Daniel has anything to do with their disappearance is irrelevant when it comes to his charges and I guess the alleged lifestyle that the kids were subjected to, right? So I'm there for it. If that's something you want to do, I will set my alarm because that would be like 5:30 my time. So, but I'm here for it. If anybody wants to do that, let me know. You read this morning that King Charles was on the island too? Really? I did not read that yet. Seaweed. Christina, thanks for being here. It's sad, and I think that's a lot of what's kind of pulling my heartstrings down right now because I've made it clear to anybody connected or involved that have a I have a channel on YouTube and I cover Jack and Lily's case, and calling me, texting me, sending me messages, and then telling me not to share stuff is ridiculous. It's not about content, it's about transparency. And if you're going to give me information, I am going to share it. And I hope that sends the message to stop contacting me. Unless you want something put out there, stop talking or just to stop. You shouldn't be giving YouTubers any information that you don't want out there. We are no different than you guys. We have no right to know anything more than you guys do, unless it's to get the word out to the masses. So it is what it is. I'm a walking technical difficulty. I can take a pic and videos for you, but I don't know how to do live. I don't know how that would work either, Missy. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know how to do that. It would have to be like you would go live like on your Facebook or something and I'd stream from there, but don't even worry about it. Pictures, videos would be great. Just send me whatever you'd like to share for the 10-month mark. Any kind of solidarity for Jack and Lily. That's what I like to make these. I guess I hate calling it the anniversary dates, but that's kind of what I like to do for the anniversary dates. I don't want the dirt. I don't want the drama. I don't want the bullshit. These days need to be about Jack and Lily because we have enough crap for every other day of the month, every single month for 10 months. So anything that shows solidarity, support for Jack and Lily, I will show it happily. Perfect. I appreciate that. Sailor Moon, thank you for coming. It would be like 5 a.m. I mean, I would set my alarm if there was somebody that was able to do that, but at the same time, you're not going to get in to the courtroom or be able to um, live stream from in there. So it's all good. It's all good. We'll work it out. April, I missed you. Where have you been? On your Facebook, pull down the 3 dots and it says live. Click on that. Sorry, I've just got a girl loitering in the yard and I don't know why. So I'm keeping an eye on her. That would be nice if you guys could. I hope you guys do get together. His court date being tied to Jack and Lily is a piss off, taking attention away from the kids, and that's exactly where the attention needs to be. His his hearing is going to be a big nothing burger. I think he's going to be appointed legal aid or public defender, and then he's going to be given time to explore his options, to consult with his attorney. So if you want to see him, that's about all you're going to get, in my opinion. I won't be. I will show any kind of support, solidarity, representation of Jack and Lily. The rest of it could care less. Truly could care less. Or is it couldn't care less? Anyways, let's not take away from Virginia, shall we? Okay, so Virginia pursued criminal and civil action against Epstein and Maxwell in 2015. She sued Did that already. See, that's what happens. According to documents released in 2026 as part of the Epstein files, the FBI investigators were unable to substantiate Virginia's allegation that Epstein lent girls out to other powerful men, which I call bullshit. That's just me. And stated in a 2019 memo that she gave shifting accounts and made public statements described as sensationalized or demonstrably inaccurate. Virginia died by suicide in April 2025. Her memoir, Nobody's Girl, was published in October 2025. And that's where a lot of I'm not going to call them crazy allegations, but where a lot of the information came from her memoir. And I believe, like, after she passed away, her brothers and sister-in-law got her diaries. So much more information came out of that as well. I don't really want to get into all the criminal cases against her. This one was interesting. See, I don't know what I can and can't play on YouTube. So she claimed that she was raped by a well-known prime minister. Um, so is that a UK prime minister or Canadian prime minister? I don't know. One of the most prominent victims of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring wrote in her memoir that she was brutally beaten and raped by an unidentified prime minister and that she feared she might die a sex slave. So the thing with that is apparently this prime minister, she knew what she was there for. She knew what she was being introduced to him for. She knew what she was going with him to do. He took her to a cabana and proceeded to choke and beat her. Um, uh, Brutal. So about Virginia's life, okay, and this is me going back to the 60 Minutes Australia episode. Yeah, they were her diaries, Seawood. And not in the memoir, okay, her diaries. Uh, and I don't know if 60 Minutes Australia copyright strikes. I would love to play you some of what her brother had to say, but she was molested by I want to say a neighbor when she was 7 years old. In her diary, her brothers found out that her dad also molested her. She was also a victim as a teenager and then got wrapped up with Epstein. So you want to talk about a life filled with trauma and abuse? She met her husband. How can I get into this part? We all met her husband when she came out, I guess in 2011. And they were he appeared to be very supportive of her. And any time that they were on camera together, he was very supportive. However, what show notifications? I guess so. So I don't want to misspeak here. Just give me a sec. So they had 3 children together. His name's Robert. A few weeks before her death, she told people that Robert had allegedly been abusing her for years, though he had not been charged with any crime. But I want to show you something. And you can think that this is fake if you want. But I mean, look at that. She's clearly in a hospital. She's got a pad on her chest, and that was after one of her husband's episodes. There's another one. I believe her. I believe her. But everything, everything you read about this woman is about Epstein. Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. The light of her life were her children, Christian, Noah, and Emily. It was when she held her newborn daughter in her arms that Virginia realized she had to fight back against those who had abused her and so many others. And then just the other day, Trump did his State of the Union, and that day, um, a lot of the survivors, I guess, victim survivors, they did a press conference, and Virginia's brother and his wife were there to speak for Virginia. And it's a shame that she wasn't, there they are right there. It's a shame that she's not alive to see this. Um, yeah, so let's hit chat, see what you guys have to say about this stuff. Hey, Ron, good to see you. Long time, Robert. You think it was Israeli? Okay. Who? Who did? I, from my, if we're talking about Daniel, are you talking about Daniel still? I'm sorry. Um, like my source said that he didn't have to make a plea yet. I could be wrong. Has the interview with Anita Maxwell Johnson happened that you were waiting on? I did share. Oh, I guess it was a members only that I talked about it a little bit, but Anita was asked by the investigators not to share any more information after her final conversation or last conversation with them. So for now, the interview will not be happening. And that's kind of what the straw that broke the camel's back was, right? Because when you have people coming to you, reaching out to you and saying, "Blah, here's all this information, but you can't say it," like it's infuriating to me. And then I do my best to not say too much, and I'm still attacked for it. So fuck them all. If you don't want the information out there, I am the last person that you need to be talking to, because what I know, you people will know. Set aside the stuff that I knew from Anita that I wasn't allowed to share just because now it is claimed that Major Crimes has asked her not to share. So unless Major Crimes is the one asking not to share anything else, save it. I don't want to hear it. I'm over it. People, and the people who are now just now starting to look away from Daniel as being responsible for the kid's disappearance and starting to think that maybe something else is happening. I have yet to hear one of those people admit that they could have been wrong all this time. I have yet to hear one of those people say that if they were in fact wrong, they will apologize for the damage that they've caused. I've made my apologies from earlier on. I had contact with the people that I needed to apologize to without telling them, I think you're completely innocent, because clearly Jack and Lily are missing. So innocent is a very strong, strong word to me, but it's 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 gotten to the point where toxic isn't even the word for it. So I don't want anything to do with it. You want to advocate for Jack and Lily? You want to tell me facts that I can share? I'm all ears. Um, in what way? Draw attention away from this? Is that what you're thinking? Mary Stevens, good to see you. Her, her, really? Maybe. You think? Yeah. Was that the 60 Minutes Australia that you watched? Because yeah, that's that's I believe what was insinuated on that show, but they didn't come right out and say it. My messenger is going crazy. I'm sure people are pissed that I said what I said and I'm not taking it back. Very sad life. Not a conspiracy theorist, but the more I learn, the more I am convinced that Epstein did not take his own life. Highly suspect. And the guards fell asleep just during the time that he hung himself. It's odd. It's odd. No, this is the Virginia Jeffrey, the whistleblower in the Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell allegations back in 2011. That the whistleblower, the one who was trafficked to the former Prince Andrew, her. Um, 60 Minutes Australia did an episode not too terribly long ago with the brother and sister-in-law of Virginia, and they revealed a lot that wasn't even included in Virginia's memoir. So it was just very, like I said, very heartbreaking information to learn when like the whole thing, like you knew she was brave, you knew she was, doing her best to shine the light on these horrible, horrible crimes, but to know what she was going through on top of that stuff, it's crazy. You don't believe died from suicide? She's talking about Bubbles, aka Mike Smith from Trailer Park. I'm not, no clue. Still only half of the files released, right? And even some of the pictures of the stuff that's been redacted is crazy. The only things that were supposed to be redacted in some of those things were victims' names, and you've got an entire page blacked out. And we thought the Jack and Lily documents were redacted heavily. Like, this is suspicious. Are we looking away from Daniel? I've missed a lot. Not looking away from Daniel, but maybe stop accusing him of something that you have no idea whether he did or not. You can accuse him of lying, of changing his story, of being inconsistent. Accuse him of the shit that he's actually done. But there are many, many people out there that have accused him of much more than that. So, not looking away from, but just opening your mind to other possibilities. And that's all I've been preaching since October. And I started this channel, November, whenever it was, October, November, whatever. Having said that, like, there's no, I mean, I shouldn't, I'm not going to say anything more. But there's definitely a good way to change your focus, a responsible way, an admirable way to do that, and not just ignoring all the bullshit that you've done in the past. I don't find that see couple of people have taken a gentler approach, saying they are now considering other theories. I've been watching the DOJs, and they are fighting hard to have them released. They have 4 computers, over 500 people in the government look at the unredacted. That's, I've always tried to be careful, but there was a time when I thought Daniel had done something to the kids. But every time that I would say it, I would check myself. I wasn't there. I have no idea. I can't be, I don't want to have to apologize to this man. So I walked a fine line for a long time. Apologize. I have something caught in my throat. My theory may have changed over time, but the same person is always involved. Yeah, people have literally made up their minds about exactly what happened. It's dangerous and damaging. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the fact is that not one of us, unless a fake profile here is Daniel, Malaya, or Janie, not one of us were there. We don't know what happened. And far be it for me to create scenarios in my head, see how terrible that night could have been. I'll wait for the police to tell me what happened. While keeping their names and their faces out there as much as I can. But people have gotten me to the point where I don't want to touch it. And I wish there was a way you could touch it without talking about the bullshit, but it's saturated. It's saturated. So here's the picture we're talking about. There's the Madame Ghislaine Maxwell. This here is Virginia, you guys. This is her when she was 17 years old. And here we are with, at this time, Prince Andrew. And he ridiculously, let me see if I can find it. Because I'm pretty sure that Scott does not copyright strike. And what he did is fantastic, is absolutely fantastic. I want to see Scott Roos. It was very recent, so this one. I'm pretty sure he doesn't copyright strike, so let's watch this, okay? I've been calling him former. I have. But at the time of that picture, he was current and active. Um, this is all just so sad. The three people on the property cannot tell the truth for these two precious babies. Having said that, I don't think that, careful how I say this, because I don't want to seem supportive or sympathetic. I don't think that Janie is knowingly lying. Put it that way. She's abrasive, aggressive, rude. I don't think she liked the kids. But I think she is truly going with what she has learned. And what happens, you guys, when something happens and you have people you trust filling in the blanks, right? And you're making it make sense in your own head. And all of a sudden, you've spun this narrative that makes sense to you. And now you're convinced that that's what's happened. And I do think that that's what's going on with Janie in her own off-putting way. I really do. And there's nothing any of these people that can say at this point, in my opinion, that is going to hold any value because they're so stuck in their either stuck in their beliefs or their lies that nothing we can glean from anything they have to say is going to help anything other than spin more narratives, accuse people of shit that we have no idea if they did or not. The only thing that we know that we can say confidently is Jack and Lily were neglected at the minimum May 2nd in that morning. Minimum. We know that CPS was involved and they do not get involved simply because of behavioral issues. That article, I can't remember where it was, but it was this morning that I read it, said that the CPS was involved because of behavior issues that the school thought may have stemmed from their living conditions. So we have no idea what that means. So I don't know why I was going off on that tangent. You guys, Daniel wasn't on the thumbnail. Don't want to talk about him. I'm an empathetic person. When people get piled on and bullied, I feel sorry for Janie and the way she has been attacked online. Yeah, I I don't I don't know. I can't say that I feel sorry for them, but if you weren't concerned, I won't say you weren't concerned, but if they're not your kids, like she pointed out many times, step grandchildren, when she remembered to say that, there's no need of her to not come out, tell what happened, maybe not wait till July to do it, but then just go on with your life. Yes, still look for them, advocate for them, do all the things that most families do. But the voice clips, the chats in DT, the having Durwood speak for you, the voice clips with Mike DeMann, I don't think it's helping her. And I cannot understand why they do it to themselves. Daniel Malaya is guilty of neglect, but I think we are looking in the wrong direction. I still believe in my heart that Lily and Jack are. It's good to have hope. I truly appreciate people that have hope. This case has turned into a shit show. Sad. Only Jack and Lily. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Nancy. The raking always catches me about Janie. Mm-hmm. Same. Same. Confirmation bias at its best. Yeah. But is it a lie or did she misspeak? Did she explain herself poorly? Like, I have no idea, just the facts. She doesn't seem very articulate to me. It's absolutely okay to disagree. They made choices. I listen to very few channels. Some make me physically ill to listen to. It's sad. I can't. There's. I can't think of anything that I can watch anymore. Rewatch old mainstream media shit, which is bizarre. Colleen, good to see you. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but an opinion and being cruel are two very different things. Very. It's almost like a a lottery. Like, let's see who can come up with the best scenario and, you know, hope they're right. Like, what's the goal? What's the goal? Wouldn't it be smarter to say, I don't know what happened, but here's what I see? I don't know. Mm-hmm. The only person who I believe is Belinda about the accounts on day she arrived. All right, you guys, let's look at. You guys drug me into Jack and Lily again. Not that it's bad, because it's not Jack and Lily. It's not Jack and Lily that we're talking about here, right? We're talking about Janie. We're talking about Daniel. I'll talk about Jack and Lily. But this live is about these monstrous people. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, and I'm going to play this one for a little bit. And enjoy. It's quick and it's pretty funny.
I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay. I was there I was there at a dinner. Yeah, Prince Andrew, or Andrew Mountbatten, is in the news again because he got arrested. And this interview is from the BBC. It was a while.
Can you guys hear that? I may need to put my volume up. Okay, here you go.
while back, but he's talking about all the things he's getting in trouble for now. Let's take a look. Also, I need a haircut, so I'm wearing a hat.
But today, you've chosen to speak out for the first time. Why have you decided to talk now?
Now, this one is important because all we're going to do here is watch. And why are we just going to watch? Because we're going to get what's called a baseline. We're going to see what Andrew looks like when he's not stressed. Now, there is some stress here because he's getting ready to be interviewed by the BBC, and they're going to talk about some things he knows they're going to talk about. They're going to be uncomfortable. But this first question is more of the introduction, and it's not uncomfortable for him. So pay attention to what he looks like because in a little while, things are going to change drastically.
Because there is no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein and all things associated.
Also, listen to his cadence, voice tone, and volume. Now, those are important because the cadence is how fast you speak. And if he gets a little bit nervous, he's probably going to start talking faster. So let's pay attention to how fast he's talking. And the tone of his voice. Is it soft? Is it rough? Is it high pitched? Is it low pitched? And let's not forget about his blink rate. Is he blinking a lot? Is he blinking fast? Is he blinking slow? How long do his eyes stay closed when he's blinking? All of these things are going to help us get our baseline on him.
We've been talking to Newsnight for about 6 months about doing something around the work that I was doing. And unfortunately, we've just not been able to fit it into either your schedule or my schedule until now. And actually, it's a very good opportunity. And I'm delighted to be able to see you today.
Now, keep in mind, as we're going through this, he rides around looking like that and doesn't care. Doesn't care if somebody takes his picture, waves at him, whatever. He looks like that.
Quite often, if I was in the United States and doing things, and if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my houses? So I said, that's very kind. Thank you very much indeed.
So keep in mind, this is still close to the beginning. So he's calm. He's not excited. The question isn't really aggressive. So we're not seeing much change in his body language. He still seems to be speaking smoothly, not a lot of big jerky movements. He seems to be doing okay here. But keep in mind, what he's saying is this. I did stay at Jeffrey Epstein's place, but I'd only stay there when he said, hey man, look, if you're going to be in town, come on over and stay. It's no big deal. However, there's this fellow that wrote a book about him, and here's what he had to say about that.
Housekeepers talk of him being a regular guest. There was a suite of rooms at the Manhattan townhouse called the Britannia Suite, reserved just for Andrew because he was there so often.
You were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something
Well,
you
I
shared?
think that's also a bit of a stretch.
Really?
I don't know why I've collected that title because I never have really partied.
There it is. She got him. See how high his voice went up?
Something
Well,
you
I think
shared.
that's
Something
well,
you
I think
shared.
that's
Something
well,
you
I think
shared.
that's
And at the same time, we see a cluster of cues that let us know this is probably not true. What are those cues? His left foot goes up a little bit, his right foot taps, and he adapts with his hands. Now, what is adapting? Adapting is when we try to get rid of that built up stress and tension. That's why he's goofing around with his hands like that. But at the same time, he's using those as a barrier. And a barrier is anything you put between you and the other person. There's not much movement there as far as forward, but it goes in front of him just a little bit more, and that is a barrier. His head also leans back and to the right. A lot of times when we're saying something we know isn't true, we'll try to separate ourselves from that person. We're trying to get a little bit further away from them. That's why you'll see things like that happen. Then we see his chin come down to guard his throat. We do that automatically. We can't help it. It's something we do naturally when we feel threatened. We try to guard our throat. Again, this is what we call a cluster of cues, and that lets us know most likely this isn't true. This is deception. And that's why it feels weird to you when you hear this and see this all happening at the same time. So if you for sure want to know what Andrew looks like when he's lying, this is the perfect example for you.
Something
well,
you
I
shared.
think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title because I never have really partied.
He obviously had a thing for young women. He liked partying. I mean, there's plenty of pictures on the internet, unfortunately, with him sweating profusely as well.
So who is this guy and why should we be listening to him?
So I was based with the Royal Protection Command from 1998 to 2004. and my role was to provide armed protection to the Queen, Prince Philip and Prince Andrew when in residence at Buckingham Palace, and to oversee guests coming in and out, obviously following correct security procedures.
Uh-oh.
I was single for quite a long time, in the early 80s. But then after I got married, I was very happy.
There was a constant flow of females visiting Prince Andrew late in the evening, whom we were not privy to their names.
And I've never really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Jeffrey's was not about partying. Absolutely not.
In 2008, he was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Now, you remember earlier when we talked about voice tone, how important that was? And at one point it was really high. Listen to how low it is here.
This was your friend. How did you feel about something
Well,
he
I
shared?
think that's
This was your friend. How did you feel about something
well,
he
I
shared?
think that's
This was your friend. How did you feel about something
well,
he
I
shared?
think that's
So what's the big difference in the voice tone here? And why is it high sometimes and why is it low sometimes? When it's high, that lets us know there's stress there. The limbic system's popping off. The larynx contracts a little bit, and that's why you get the high tone.
Something
well,
he
I
shared.
think that's
And when the question being posed or the information being given is something you're ashamed of, you don't want to hear, you're familiar with it, but you don't want to be a part of it, quite often it'll go low like that.
This was your friend. How did you feel about
And in our baseline, we heard it was normal. It was a normal tone, normal volume, normal cadence.
schedule until now. And actually, it's a very good opportunity. And I'm delighted to be able to see you today.
She's asking him a question that's embarrassing. She's asking him a question about a friend of his who's in trouble for something horrible. He's trying to separate himself from it. That's why that voice goes low.
This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation. And that was later on in 2006.
Now, if you're sitting here watching this, you may not think that deep breath means very much. However, it's a pretty big deal because what's going on is this. She's asking him that question, and when she does, that's getting him worked up. He's got a lot going on up in his head. That's called inner dialogue. He knows he has to watch every word he says and how he says it. So he's structuring those sentences to make that happen for him so they sound positive. Now, it takes a little bit of time to think those answers up and to structure them. Although that breath doesn't seem like that big a deal, the time it takes to do that is enough time for him to think about that answer, structure it, and deliver it.
And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So I just it was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
Remember earlier when we were talking about how important cadence was? Cadence is how fast you talk. Well, check out how fast he's talking now compared to his baseline.
Why have you decided to talk now?
Because there is no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein and all things associated. We've been talking to Newsnight for about 6 months about doing something around the work that I was doing. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So I just it was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
This lets us know something's up. He's really stressed here. He's trying to get this information out as quickly as possible because when he starts answering, look at her face.
It was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
He knows she's not buying it, so he's adding what are called qualifiers. Those are the things we add on to our answers to make them more believable, or so we'll think they're more believable. And I don't think it's working here.
It was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
So no contact.
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
No.
Now, this is from a recent special on the BBC about this very question. Check this out.
So no contact.
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
No.
Except here's an email from Andrew to Epstein in 2009. Please, may I stay in your beautiful apartment again? Andrew was asking about using Epstein's place in Paris at a time when he says there was no contact.
Oof.
And I went to see him, and I was doing a number of other things in New York at the time. And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
Now, watch his left foot. That thing pops up when he says park.
And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park. And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
And why is that important? Because that lets us know his limbic system gave him a little pop because he got in trouble for being in the park with Epstein. That's where the picture was taken. And obviously he knows that makes him look bad.
And that was the conversation, coincidentally, that was photographed.
Two big things here. Notice when he says coincidentally.
Coincidentally, that was...
Talk about a limbic pop.
Coincidentally, that...
And then, of course, his foot pops up again on photographed.
Photographed, which was when I said to him, I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact.
There's that arrogance we hear so much about. Watch his head go back when he says, I don't think it's appropriate. He's looking down his nose at her.
I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact. And
Oh, I mean, every time I want to stop it, I'm like, oh, this part, oh, this part, oh, this part. Like, I think this is fascinating and kind of funny. The subject matter obviously isn't funny, but the fact that he's such a terrible liar, it's mind-boggling considering he's like a royal, you know, they're trained in, public speaking, how to, present yourself in the public. And this guy is just a complete shit show. So I don't know. Let me know if you want to continue. Let's hit chat for a minute. And I'm gonna go. This guy, he was all over Canada. They all were. Andrew does not take his interviewer serious. To me, that shows dominance to women. Just my opinion. Probably not wrong. He was an exchange student in Ontario as well for a semester. Andrew? Who? I tried to delete my disrespectful opinion, but it would not let me. Sorry about that. Which? Here in this chat? It didn't catch my attention. I don't think any big deal. Hey, look, you guys are all entitled to your own opinions. I don't care if they're disrespectful opinions, as long as you're not out here being disrespectful about telling us what you think. Do you know what I mean? Just because I say that I don't think it's right to accuse people of doing something that we have no proof that they did, just because I say that, I'm not trying to dictate what you believe or what you say. I'm just trying to say, try to say it nicely. That's all. That's all. Like, I mean, there were people that they would come in here and call everybody idiots and, threaten to sue everybody out of one side of their mouth, and then out of the other side of their mouth, they're accusing Malaya of taking the kids and doing something to them. So it's like, don't be a hypocrite and just be respectful, and you can say whatever you want. I don't care. Andrew has an awful reputation for being awful to staff. Really. He and Fergie seem to be greedy, crass little grifters. I agree. I agree. When I was a kid, I remember Fergie and I liked her. I liked like her hair was like the same color as mine back then, and I was a little girl. I just thought she was so pretty. But as an adult and seeing everything that's gone down, I think she is probably almost as shady as her husband, ex-husband. It's Scott Rose. It's behavior panel. He's funny sometimes. Blue Jay, I'm glad you made it back. Don't get fired. Yes, and Fergie allegedly sent her 22-year-old niece to Epstein. What? Judgment day will come. I know what you were saying, Marie. Could put you to sleep. Fair. Who? This guy did not. He was just arrested, what, 2 weeks ago? And then released, but he was arrested for giving, I think, insider information to Epstein. But that's very, to me, low on the scale of things that he actually did with Epstein. I didn't turn Streamlabs on. I don't know how to turn it off. I probably, maybe have to uninstall it from my computer. I don't know. I think that's why him and Diana got divorced. So now you're talking about Charles. All lies, emails, he clearly remained in contact. He did. All them high mucks will be on Judgment Day, maybe even before. I hope before. I really do. I hope before. He wasn't nicknamed Randy Andy for not being a party boy. I mean, did you see the pictures that Scott pulled up when he said, I have, no interest in partying? I mean, oh, it's all good. Just because you're a Mason doesn't mean you're a bad person. My uncle was a Freemason. He was the best man I knew. He's a Shriner, too. When he passed away, he left me his fez. I wish they would find those two beautiful children. Yeah, me too. Me too. So I didn't see any like huge
By
support
mutual agreement during that walk in the park.
or like need or desire to go forward with this particular interview. So let's turn it over to, that's Nancy. We all recognize this. This is Jmail. What's this? Cecilia. Oh, sorry, I just seen this. I don't know when you'll get to read this. I was so sad to read that you had been found unconscious in your cell. No matter what happens, I will always be loyal to you and you will always be in my heart. I've been in remission for 2 years and just ended a returnship at Redacted. I'm now looking for a permanent job. I'm still in London. Always with love, Cecilia. After he had been convicted, served time, released, and then charged again. You are dead. Good riddance, Cody Redland. Interesting. Fair. All right. All right. Elite Masons. Sad elites believe they're above the law. Did you guys, did anybody watch Hillary Clinton come out after her, I guess, testimony in front of Congress last week? I can't wait until the video and audio of that comes out because apparently she was yelling and screaming at them in there, and she's a despicable woman. And I don't know for sure, but like she said, she never met Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm pretty sure I saw pictures of her in the same room with them. And then saying that Ghislaine Maxwell was like an acquaintance. But do you, as a high profile person, do you typically invite acquaintances to your daughter's wedding? And there are a bunch of other circumstances where Hillary had invited Ghislaine Maxwell to private functions, family functions. So, fucking liar. He won't face any prison time, in my opinion. He's lost his position in the royal family. They will be hoping that's enough. Well, according to the king, justice has to take its course. Do you know he always had someone with him and it wasn't DOC staff? What are you saying? Who was it? They need to make an example of all of them and jail them for a long time. I agree. DP would be suitable way to make an example of some of these perverts. So the ranch in New Mexico. That's interesting, and we all need to keep our eye on that. Because if there is any kind of, and I don't know if New Mexico is a death penalty state. Do you? Do you know? And then like how would they know who did it? Because apparently it was decades ago if they find remains. So I don't even think Epstein is dead. I think being a man that full of narcissism, he faked it and escaped. It's quite the escape. Charles was best friends with Jimmy Savile. Yeah, right? That guy was. Wow. I wonder, hmm. It's so much more than trafficking. They controlled the WEF, stock market, health decisions like COVID. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so check this out, you guys. Look. So remember when we covered this the first time and everybody in chat was like, go to Gmail, blah, blah, blah. And I did. And then we searched jerky and we searched pizza and we just kind of poked around the Gmail a little bit. And then I showed the DOJ site where all of the Epstein files are, or the ones that have been released are. And then I learned about this J Drive. So it's in the Gmail. If you Google Gmail and then go there, and then up here, can you see my mouse? Up here, this little grid. If we click on that, New Mexico does not have the death penalty. Hmm. Okay, so we've got Jmail up here, J Photos, J Drive, J Flights, JVR, J Amazon, Jeff Tube, and J Wiki. Okay, so let's just poke around at each one of these. All right. Photos, you guys. They're all where it needs to be redacted is going to be redacted. So I'm going to be just flipping through them. Here's people, I guess, that are tagged in these photos. Jeffrey and Ghislaine, Bill Clinton, Steve Bannon, Walter Cronkite, Kevin Spacey, Bill Gates, Mick Jagger, Donald Trump, Noam Chomsky, Richard Branson, Woody Allen, Alan Dershowitz. Why can't I say his name today? I do know him. Not personally. Can I just flip through them? You can go and you can download them. You can request unredact by Congress. Oh, interesting. Are these children? Are these children? It's terrible. Well, there's Ghislaine, I think. Oh yeah, that's her. Scrawny little legs. Mhm. Epstein at his grand piano. Oh, this one. See that? That there is Bill Clinton, and that there is Ghislaine. And who knows who that is? Clinton seems to have his eye on her, though. Sick, sick. Huh. Mm-hmm. Gross. Who's these? Doesn't look familiar. Do you guys know them? We've got Bill Clinton and Epstein there. I mean, they were obviously pretty tight buds. Look at this. And their shiny shirts. Is that Robin Williams? Maybe not. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Rip. Helicopter parking only. Gross. Try to keep my eye on chat too. Yeah, she knew him. Damn Skippy, she knew him. Gross. Gross. That's the pool. You have any idea? I don't. She's still working on it. It's still not a no. They're still looking into it. I suspect they have to go back and watch all of Sunny's live streams, maybe a couple of mine, to see that she wasn't spamming anybody without permission, but they're investigating. Who is this? That looks like Keith Richards. Interesting. Ooh, redacted. Lots of redacted. You guys go in there. I'll do it on my own time, but go in these and request them to be unredacted. You can hit your request to be unredacted, like request Congress. You should do that. Creepy. Looks like they're in Disneyland, perhaps. Not sure who that is, but I think it's safe to say not a child, just based on the clothing. Oh, how's that? Good old MJ. This guy. Just gross. Who is this? Many, many pictures. So if you click on seaweed down here, it says unredact. If you click on it, it just says requested. So go through and, request, and if they get millions of requests, I doubt they'll do it, but just make some noise, right? That's all you can do. Who is this? That there is Chris Tucker. Rush Hour fame. Interesting. Again with Chris Tucker. Disturbing. More of Bill Clinton. And maybe is that Kevin Spacey? That looks like Kevin Spacey in the front, you guys. These aren't just photo ops, right? Again, Chris Tucker. To me, I mean, it doesn't look like photo ops to me. Maybe I'm wrong. That seems to be a young girl. Wonder what Hillary thinks of all these. Hmm. Again, I mean, they just do not, to me, look like photo ops. I can't remember her name, but she's been very, very mentioned in law and crime news spots. Mick Jagger. Or Chris Tucker. So many people, you guys. Oh, look who it is. It's Fergie herself. Well, that's disturbing. I don't know if we want to see that. Can we see a face? No. It looks like a performer of sorts. Gosh, I wish I recognized some of these men. Ew. I don't recognize a lot of them. But apparently all of these names are in here somewhere. Huh. Huh. Okay. Just go to your Google machine and type in Jmail, like JM, yeah, no space or anything, just JMAIL, Jmail. And then up here, when you get to the Jmail, up here, there's this little grid with all the dots. Click on that. And these are the photos they knew he was taking. I think there is way darker stuff buried somewhere. And the redactions, Julie, the redacted ones, heaven knows what's on those. But it's, you can't, who is this? Is that Spacey? I don't know. Kind of looks like him, kind of doesn't though. One could argue that, like, I wonder when they were taken, some of them. Were they after 2008 when he was considered a convicted SO? And these people still had contact with him? I'm not seeing Trump yet, though. Well, that's nice. Playing with her boob. Classy. Look at all these. Redacted. Redacted. Just to show you the amount. Okay, so let's move on to the next one because this gives you a really good idea of all the crap that's in here. The next one, the J drive. This is where you're going to find the DOJ documents. So here's January 2026 DOJ release. And, you know, there's just court records. Like it's Maxwell, Epstein, the grand jury is in here. Very interesting stuff if you're interested. Like 1,401,320 documents just in this one file. Like what the actual DOJ disclosures, House oversight. And this is only half of them, 50% of the documents. And this is what the survivors are fighting for. So now we go into flights, and I believe this is just like a, how do you want to say, like a summary of flights. Just Jeffrey with guests, empty logs. And do they have to say who their guests are every time? Like, I don't know. Little St. James Island with Dave and Billy. Who's Billy? Who's Billy? Some of these people, I mean, might be interesting, but to me, it's like, I wonder if there's a way that you can just search to go to just the ones where he was taking people to the island. But which is just it's friggin' wild. JVR, what is this? Oh, okay. So surveillance from inside the house. Pink bedroom, blue guest room, exercise room. Huh. Lots of stuff in there. Like it's never ending. Oxygen concentrator. Adjustable portable oxygen machine for home and travel use. Heh. Kids' toys. Pelvic clock exercise device for chronic hip and lower back pain relief. Jasmine night blooming plant. Bedside reading light. I guess this is just his crap. Devil's Bargain, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, and the Nationalists Uprising. Super Z outlet large canvas natural money bag pouch with drawstring closure and dollar sign design for toy party favors. Heh. You guys. You guys. You can go in and see the kind of crap that he was buying for himself. Where'd it go? Ah, I lost it. That's okay. See, we'll do it together. See, just Gmail. Crazy. When I bring it up, it's because I don't know why, but my Google machine decided just to save the jerky search. I want to save the JTube because I did go through JTube already. So welcome to the JMail Encyclopedia. So I believe this would be, you can treat this as like a index kind of. Victims and recruitment patterns, victim references in the archive, model management, flight logs, and travel evidence, evidence overview, and prosecution roadmap. Here's his Manhattan townhouse, Palm Beach estate, Little St. James Island, Epstein co-conspirators, Epstein wealth, obstruction of justice evidence, criminal statutes, JP Morgan Chase banking relationship, 2007 non-prosecution agreement, Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, redacted files requiring unredaction, Paris apartment. Just an easier way, I think, to navigate through. Yeah, there is, if you go on Netflix, there is one, we can look and see what it's called. We can see what it's called. Where's the thing? I guess you have to hit the back button. Whatever. Okay, let's hit JeffTube, you guys. So it looks just like YouTube. It's not. You actually have to close each video to go to the next one. It's not like a scrolling thing or anything like that. All of the videos released by the DOJ from the Epstein files, about 140 videos are unlisted as they contain pornography and questionable content that we would prefer remain accessible through the federal government site. Here's a list of those. But a lot of these are like 1 second, 2 second, 3 seconds long. Some of them are longer. There's one in here even that I kind of skipped through of Ghislaine in her cell, just kind of a day in the life, and she literally just sleeps. She goes to the bathroom and then goes to her little cot. And what is this? That is disturbing to the maximum. Gross. But I'll just show you a couple here. I mean, there was nothing that I found overly disturbing other than the ones that have clearly young girls in them. Heavily redacted, very short videos, but why? You can see this one up here has got, this is a young girl, a young girl. This is a young girl, and a second young girl walks through really quickly. But you can see that they're just so young, so young. We've seen this one on the news, chasing girls around his island in the kitchen. Let me mute. Just weird. Just weird. So happy Jeffrey's there. Just weird. Weird. This one was, he's got some kind of something gross on his face there. Most definitely go to the site yourself, check it out. If there's anything you want to look into deeper, you can. We will get into the files and the court documents someday, or sorry, next time, and we'll start going through that together. But these videos and pictures and stuff, I think, just because there's a lot here, but there's a lot of nothing here. You just Is that that's what I thought it was? So it says up here, Yana Bogomolova, Women's Health Partnership, 10.5 centimeters. Mm, 28 weeks, 3 days. Who financed his lifestyle? I think a number of people, whether it was through um, basically money laundering through some of his clients and um, what's his name? Ron is here. He knows. He knows the man's name, but he worked for the the creator of Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, all of those big huge companies. Jeffrey worked for him, and he had misappropriated and laundered millions of dollars from this man. And the man, he testified in front of Congress, I think 2 weeks ago or so. He denies knowing anything, as all of them do, right? But I mean, and Jeffrey had many, many, many clients. He did financials for many rich, famous people. So if that was just one and he extorted millions of, not even extorted, laundered millions of dollars from one man, and he had so many other rich clients, he probably did it to all of them. I hear Harley. He's in the hall. Um, yeah. I mean, I have to think of a way that we can talk about that aspect of things. Make it YouTube friendly. So that's just not going to be a real quick. This one, I'm gonna play this one, you guys, because I don't know what it is, and I want your thoughts. I want your thoughts on this one. I want your thoughts. You see Harley? What are you doing? There he is. T, there he is. Come here. Get out of my pretzels. Come here, say hi. Don't think he's in the mood. Maybe. Hi, Harley. Here's a good boy. Okay. Okay. Get rid of that mug. I want to show you guys this one. Let me. This could be quite disturbing, but not knowing what it is, I'll hold my thoughts and let you guys decide. Let me make it real big. I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm probably gonna play it a couple of times just so that you can see it and decide for yourselves and tell me what you think it is now. What's in the bags, you guys? I'm gonna take it back a little bit so you can just pay attention to, because I'm undecided, seaweed. I'm undecided. You make it bigger for you. You read that this is supposed to be a way they cook their meat or something? In these burlap bags? But how do they get them out? Like, to me, that doesn't look like anything that they're planning on bringing back out. And then at the end of it, they put a cover on it and they all stomp on it, reminiscent of Black Hawk Down, if anybody remembers that. Harley knows very well that he is the most handsome boy ever. He knows. I don't know, Belinda. I don't know. But it's in the it's in the drive. You see? Did you see that? Oh, I did it. See, look. They're piling it in, and then they put a cover on it, and then they all start pouncing on it. Like, it doesn't look to me like they're cooking meat to be taken out of there and consumed. Do you know what I mean? Like, what innocent explanation do we have for that? What could possibly be going on? It looked like blood on the first few bags. I agree. Go and have a look at it yourselves. And that to me looks like a bed sheet. Why would they put that on there unless it's not flammable? Filling it in with dirt. It's beyond disturbing. We're not sure where it is. It was just one of Jeffrey's videos that he had. Now, why did he have it? Was it just something that fascinated him? Or was it something a little more than that? There's this one as well. I won't. I gotta mute myself to play. Yeah, it is strange. I know that in Egypt and Turkey they use fire pits to cook meat. Okay. And somebody else said that too. But this to me, and you can tell me what you think, Women's Warrior. But when they're rolling it in, I believe you, but are they cooking just a lot of meat for the entire village or whatever? But then once it's full, like everybody just starts piling it in, they're piling it on top. And the part that gets me is they put this cover on it, okay, and then they all start bouncing on it. And then start shoveling dirt into it. Is that how they cook their meat? And yeah, burlap bags. And then why the cover? Ah, ah, I don't know. I don't know. Probably their wives who did something wrong. Okay, do tell. What is this? Omani Shua. What is this? Can I just Google that for a second? Tradition, celebratory dish from Oman consisting of slow-cooked marinated meat, typically lamb, goat, or sometimes camel, that is heavily spiced and roasted in an underground pit. Okay, so um I'm just looking to see if there's any pictures of them actually doing this, not the finished product, which is what every picture I'm looking at shows. I don't know. You guys look into it and maybe it is. Cover onto smooth. That's what I thought. In early 1980s, E seems to have been a bounty hunter who recovered stolen money for the ultra wealthy. It proved to be a lucrative enterprise, and by 1984, Epstein had become a millionaire. Okay. Okay. It's interesting. All right. One more video, and then we're gonna move on to Nancy, I think. I want to. This is the one I told you about, Ghislaine in her cell. Don't want to watch that. It's too long. But this one, I gotta mute myself so that we can hear it because she actually speaks.
You ever involved in sexual activities in any of Mr. Epstein's properties other than Palm Beach um, that included the use of sex toys or any kind of mechanical or other device?
No.
Were you aware of the presence of sex toys or devices used in sexual activities in Mr. Epstein's Palm Beach house?
Check the form and foundation.
No. Not
Uh,
I recall.
Were you aware that there were sex toys or devices used in sexual activities in Mr. Epstein's New York house?
No.
Were you aware that there were sex toys or devices used in sexual activities in Mr. Epstein's property in the Virgin Islands?
Check the form and foundation.
No.
Do you actually think that Epstein had a copy of Ghislaine's testimony? I don't know. I don't know if some of these videos possibly weren't his and were dropped in here as a matter of, you know, a, I mean, where else would they put them, I guess? I don't know. I don't know what to think with some of these. It's very, any way you slice it, it's disturbing. Disturbing as shit. So again, you go to your, how can I get back to the J drive? Like I said, search any one of those things, and then up here in the grid, Click on that, and you can get to all the things that we just looked at. And then we will start going through the J drive, like all of these documents. And a lot of it is redacted, but just to go through each one just to see what they're about. And we can, I don't know, it's very disturbing to think and daunting to think, do we really want to go through all of this? But just to kind of scan through, I guess, and see. I don't know. Yeah, well, something edible, right? When people talked about elites and sacrifices, blood drinking, etc., I thought it was way out there, but now I'm not sure anything would surprise me. Exact same. Same. It would have to be something edible for sure. In the South, usually pig or lamb wrapped in banana leaves, a lot cleaner than it looks, though. And I cannot see them putting that much in one pit. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think I've seen enough of Epstein for one day. Let's, don't forget about Virginia, the whistleblower, and her real life struggles, I guess, and trauma. Go watch the 60 Minutes Australia episode where we hear from her brother and her brother's wife. It's very enlightening to learn about who this woman was. So, switching gears now. We've got Nancy Guthrie update. FBI speaks out on new video. That's 6 minutes long, but it is TMZ, and I know what people think. I know what people think about TMZ. So up to you if you want to watch it or not. But I want to go directly to the source, Brian Enton. Just one sec. Yeah, I hadn't heard about J Drive either, Belinda. But it's very organized, very, whoever did that, way more organized than me. Jesse, I did. But is it like all of them put it in there and then they cover it with dirt? I don't know. I mean, it could be something innocent like that. It absolutely could be. So let's have a look at what the latest. These are also long. To watch what do you guys want to talk about when it comes to Nancy? Because there was a lot of activity, and I think most of this from like here up, I didn't do lives. So I think what I'm gonna do, because they are shorts. Okay, this one here. And we're gonna watch some of his shorts together. Okay. I gotta mute myself one sec.
Hey guys, so it's day 23 now in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Outside Nancy Guthrie's house here. Some updates this morning. This is something that we reported over the weekend, but now NBC News is also reporting. They say they have 3 law enforcement sources who are emphasizing that the case has not gone cold, which is also what sources have been telling me. Um, Someone, someone said it might be chilling, but has not gone cold, whatever. I don't know, whichever you want to read into that. So the hope is that there's a lot we don't know that's happening behind the scenes right now. I think I've shown you guys before, but this memorial just seems to keep on growing, which is really nice to see a lot of the neighbors coming out. There was kind of some drama yesterday. There was these women that showed up like searchers and they had a shovel and they started like digging in the ground here in this area. Like I don't really know what they were doing, but anyway, I think that's why the sheriff's deputies ended up getting called out here. So there's been some kind of characters that have shown up. Um, but most people have really good intentions. A lot of the neighbors are just like just so upset because they've known Nancy for so long. So I got a couple of things I'm going to work on today, and I'll update you guys later. But I just wanted to check in, and we may get an update later from the sheriff's office. So I'll keep you guys posted. Hey guys. Hey guys, so a pretty big update here. We have learned, remember the photos of the suspect outside of Nancy Guthrie's house? There was the one of him wearing the backpack and one without the backpack. Sources tell me that those photos were taken on different days, which means that the kidnapper was at Nancy Guthrie's house before the kidnapping, before the day of the kidnapping. I have a source confirming this, and News Nation's Libby Dean in Washington, D.C. also has a source confirming this. And I was wondering about this because if you look at the photos, you can see that the suspect has a backpack on in one of the photos and does not have a backpack on in the other photo, which was very confusing. And now it makes sense according to our sources because it means that the one photo was taken earlier, was not taken the day that the suspect allegedly kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. So was he casing the house days earlier? We don't know, but we now know that those photos come from different days, which is really interesting. Hey guys, so a pretty big Hey guys, so a couple of updates here on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. First of all, this is not good news, more bad news when it comes to the DNA. But according to a federal source with my colleague Libby Dean, my News Nation colleague, friend in DC, the DNA found inside Nancy Guthrie's home was only a partial sample and was not viable for CODIS, which is not good. It means that the DNA sample is not strong, the sample that they got from the house. And it's not even strong enough to put in the CODIS database where they can see if it links back to any known criminals. So the DNA, I mean, the sheriff described them as having DNA challenges. I mean, these are real issues from what we can tell. I mean, they cannot even enter the DNA into CODIS, the DNA found in the house, because it is only a partial sample. The other thing, obviously, you guys probably saw the video this morning. Savannah Guthrie is now offering a $1 million reward for information on the case, which is hopefully gonna I mean, maybe that's what will move things. And I am hearing that she wanted to put up this reward long ago, but that she was told sort of stand down because it would overwhelm the tip lines, which must be.
$1 million. So can you imagine the number of tips that have come in since then? It's like people don't realize that your tip has to, lead to the recovery of Nancy in order to get $1 million. You can't just make shit up. It's sad. I would like to know what everybody thinks happened. For me, like I go back and forth, but I do think that it's possible that ransom slash revenge or obsession with Savannah was the initial motive, but something went terribly wrong and they took Nancy out of the house, probably alive, maybe not well, but alive, thinking that they were going to demand a ransom and some, I think that something bad happened, and that's why there was the delay in the ransom demand. And I, I don't know. Why do you take? I just, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the cases that we've seen where people have been taken out of their beds at night, like Savannah herself said. It's usually for very dark reasons. And she's an 84-year-old woman, and I I don't know. What do you guys think? 87-year-old dad lives with me and always will. It breaks my heart thinking how distressed, frightened, and confused Nancy must have been. I did see another video where they were questioning another light source. In my opinion, only my opinion, I believe what happened to Nancy Guthrie has to do with what Savannah Guthrie and the interview with the 6 Epstein victims. Could be. Could be. I think someone's sending a message to Savannah to keep her mouth shut, sadly. Um, I can't pronounce her name. She's supposed to be in love with him. Why would she get all those young girls? It's Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that she was a deviant too. I think that they had that in common. I think. Let's continue with Brian.
Español. ¿Qué están haciendo? Los comentarios. Los comentarios, gracias. Nomás hizo un letrero. Un letrero. ¿Qué hizo el letrero? No traspasar. Properties. ¿Van a ponerlos en toda la propiedad? Sí. No sé si fue la familia o si fueron las autoridades. No, señor, no comentario, nada de eso. He's asking who authorities have gone on instead of the town. ¿Qué piensa de todo lo que está pasando?
I believe this is the no trespassing signage. I'm muting myself because I'm eating a pretzel. Yeah, no trespassing.
Hey guys, so we just got an update from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They kind of put out these updates at the end of every day, so I just kind of wanted to go through everything they say. They're with the Nancy Guthrie investigation, of course. For reward, they say the reward amount was determined by the Guthrie family. For additional information, please contact the FBI. So it seems the Sheriff's Office has nothing to do with that. Investigation, the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI continue to work around the clock on this investigation and are actively pursuing all viable leads, so nothing really new there. Trespassing signs. I showed you guys earlier the trespassing signs going up outside the Guthrie house. Today, the Guthrie family requested no trespassing signs around Nancy's residence. Members of the media are expected to observe these postings and comply with the law. Suspect image. We are aware that doorbell images released earlier in the investigation depict a suspect in different stages of attire, including with and without a backpack. There is no date or timestamp associated with these images. Therefore, any suggestion that the photographs were taken on different days is purely speculative. This remains an active and ongoing criminal investigation. As with any investigation, conclusions will be guided by verifiable evidence and established facts. Speculation without factual support does not advance the investigative process. So I was one of the people who reported, according to sources that I have, that the photos are from different days, and I stand by my reporting. And by the way, ABC Fox, CNN, CBS have all also reported the same thing, but the sheriff continues to give pushback on that. DNA, all evidence collected from the crime scene and related search locations has been submitted for forensic analysis. The laboratory is processing the evidence. There are no additional updates at this time. So they're not saying it, but we're also reporting that there are really big challenges, especially with the DNA from inside the house. They're actually saying it's not viable and they can't even put it into the CODIS database. No press briefing scheduled right now. So that's also, you know, everybody's been asking, is there going to be a press conference? Apparently, no. And then they say the PIO team has been distributing updates to the media on an almost daily basis. At this time, we will limit further updates to instances when new information warrants release. So,
What do you think of that? Like, you, every single time something comes out, the sheriff speaks to it and usually walks it back or retracts it or refutes it. So how on earth, I mean, kudos to Brian Enton, who's actually doing reporting, not taking away from any of the boots on the ground YouTubers at all, because at least we're seeing what's going on. But how do you, as a reporter like Brian Enton, how do you report on something that you know the sheriff is going to either change, retract, deny? And somebody like Brian Enton, who's reputable, who gives a shit about putting the right information out there. It's amazing that he keeps going. It's good. Oh, yeah, maybe. I saw a video of Savannah Guthrie having a television interview with 6 Epstein and Prince Andrew's victims, and I personally think it's a message to Savannah. Sadly, I do. It's possible. $1 million. It's time for someone to speak up about Nancy. Please bring her home. It's amazing that they haven't yet, if they haven't. Sadly, I don't believe Nancy is alive. I do believe something happened to her that evening when she was taken out of her bed. I mean, 84, pacemaker, special medication, everything was left behind. I agree with you. Hey, Lacey. Prince Andrew has been arrested and Virginia Epstein's victim apparently committed suicide in April of last year. Now Nancy is being taken out of her bed after Savannah did it in television interview. Yeah. I don't know what to think about Nancy. I kind of think it was targeted towards Savannah, but I also heard Annie's husband has a big gambling debt. Yeah. And why hasn't he come out and talked? And Annie doesn't talk on her own. She's almost like a backup singer for Savannah Guthrie. Like she only appears with her sister. Savannah's come out on her own. I have heard, though, that Savannah believes completely in her sister and brother-in-law. Diesel, good to see you. Hi, Belinda. Thanks for being here this long. This is one of Nancy's neighbors that freaked out on some of the reporters that apparently was on her property, so she had somebody hired someone to come in and put up no trespassing signs. I don't think that she could choose to put no trespassing signs on Nancy's property. I mean, I think that was the family. All reports say that at that time they were preparing to turn the house back over to the family. So that was probably preemptive to allow them privacy, to make sure nobody, or to try to help prevent people from going on the property or sneaking around the house or whatever. Once the sheriff wasn't going to be there anymore, they didn't have anybody stationed there anymore. We'll watch the next video here, but we get to that point. Yeah. When you're a news reporter, you try to bring out the facts only, right? So when you bring out what something your trusted source says is fact, and then the next day the sheriff comes out and says that's not a fact. I mean, that's crazy. So the bed comment. So we saw Savannah's interview where she said my mother was taken, in the middle of the night from her bed, and everybody made a big deal of that. And I understand why people did, and I also believe that that's probably what happened because the sheriff had said that at the very beginning, but then walked that back and said it was a figure of speech. But I don't think that, and I don't think Savannah would be theatrical about talking about what happened to her mother. So I do believe that she was taken from her bed. And from my understanding, she had recently got new, like, high-powered hearing aids. So if she was in bed sleeping, she wouldn't have had her hearing aids in. It's it's very possible that somebody could have gotten in without her hearing, you know? How terrifying. I was watching Manhunt the Child Snatcher. The whole school policing seemed thorough. Road blocked immediately. Driver stopped and questioned door to door. No waiting to see if they wandered. Julie, right? I was thinking to myself, we've got so many others, but we've got Dylan Eller, we've got Jack and Lily, we've got Eli Wood, we've got Nancy Guthrie, and so many others. They're just gone without a trace. I don't, we didn't have real time updates like we do now. It wasn't at our fingertips. So maybe that's the difference. That we had to wait for updates. So there was actually time to get substantial updates before the public was told about them. Maybe that's the difference, but I do see a major difference. When you're talking about even just Jack and Lily's case, why were they so focused on the woods? Who was that credible right off the hop, taking away from every other missing child investigation where they disappeared in the middle of the night, where the number one suspects to begin with are the people who were in that home? Why wasn't it treated that way and they just went directly into those woods for 6 solid days? Simultaneous investigations? Possibly, but they didn't have the public looking anywhere for the kids, you know, except in the woods. There's something, yeah, absolutely agree with seaweed. That's why everything is so quiet right now. I mean, Savannah says she's going back to work, but no time. She's going back to New York to be with the family. And is Savannah supposed to be going back to work soon when she's ready and she's moving back to New York? So there's something brewing in the background. We have to remember that Savannah has a family and she has children. Um, I don't know how I would handle it. Would I put my entire life and my children's lives on hold for a month or more? And make no mistake, she knows more about the investigation and what happened than we do. So, but I also can't see how somebody can go back to work in the capacity that she was working. She's you know, very public figure on the Today Show every single day. How would you go back to that normal life? You wouldn't be able to. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Savannah sitting back and doing absolutely nothing. Savannah is used to the media and talking to them. We never heard about Annie. I mean, think about it. Savannah is a huge television personnel, has been for years, and she seems to be very close to her mom, probably more than Annie and Tommaso. So, I mean, this could actually be a personal attack on Savannah to get her to shut her mouth regarding the Epstein files. I mean, would you open your mouth after somebody came in your mom's house? Yeah, I know somebody that is also connected to Eli's mom. 2-year-old from Australia who disappeared from her bed, mom arrested the same day. So many children go missing when their parents are sleeping. Time to make it a crime. Seen from the start. Yeah. In my opinion, the advance in technology has caused investigators to stop using their skills, and it's causing problems. And they're not as good as they used to be. The old-fashioned police work, right? It's like us relying on Google Maps to get us to where we have to go, or AI to do our spell check and stuff for us, and we've stopped using our own skills and our brains. She's worth $40 million. She does not need to go back to work. Savannah said she wasn't going back to work, but I guess it has been reported that she has decided to go back to work when she's ready to go back to work. That's all I'm saying. With Jack and Lily's case, the police believed what they were told. The kids went into the woods. They got tunnel vision. But that's my point, Jeannie. They had no, that from everything I know, went against their procedure. You have to clear the people in the house to make sure that the kids went in the wood. I'm not saying they shouldn't have looked in the woods, absolutely. But they needed to be investigating the family, the people who were with those kids in the house that they disappeared from. And really all they had to do was look in every other missing kids case who went missing from their own houses. Oh, really? Is that a fact? Probably the sheriff gave him the go-ahead to go. Let's continue with Brian.
Hey guys, so some interesting things happening at Nancy Guthrie's house right now. Several unmarked SUVs showed up. One of them actually pulled into the garage, and then they closed the garage door once the SUV was inside the garage. And there are people dressed in like suits, and some people sort of not as dressed up, but there are some people dressed in suits which we haven't seen before. They were walking around the outside of the house, and they're inside the house right now, and I can see some of them through the windows in the front in the doorway. They appear to be investigators, feds, but we don't know for sure. The cars are unmarked. What I found to be very interesting, though, is that the one SUV pulled into the garage and they closed the garage door. And then, so we don't know if there was someone in the car that they didn't want us to see, they didn't want the media to just see. That's kind of the first thing that went to my mind. I mean, is it a member of the family that wanted to go inside the house? We don't know, but they've been in there for a while. Again, they were walking around the back of the house and they're now inside the house. And I'll keep you guys posted. Hey guys, so some interesting things happened.
Now, I heard from a source that that could, that very well could have been Savannah, who was asked to go into the house to see if there was anything of hers missing or something related to her herself missing, going off of the theory that it was some kind of revenge or obsession with Savannah. That's what I had heard. Who knows, but it makes sense. A little bit, way late, $1 short, but that's what I heard.
Hey guys, so an update from outside Nancy Guthrie's house. It's quieted down since earlier when law enforcement was here. I've confirmed at least one of them was a Pima County Sheriff's detective. FBI, I believe, was also here. But something new. So the sheriff put out a new release basically saying that all the media is going to have to leave the cars. Like they're putting a no parking zone ordinance in for this entire neighborhood, basically, like a really big area where you're not allowed to park on the street or you'll, I think it's a $250 fine. And they're gonna, have the sheriff's deputies out here enforcing it apparently starting tomorrow, which is kind of interesting because first they put these cones out all along the street, or these barricades, so that, like they said, that way the media can just stay on that side and we'll keep the traffic moving, which there really isn't a lot of traffic. It's just kind of a quiet street. But so it's pretty clear they want the media to leave. Most of the neighbors who I've met have been like happy that we're here. Honestly, it might sound kind of weird, but like this one lady I talked to the other day was saying, like, we love Nancy and we feel like if you leave, everybody's going to forget. So I know that there's probably some neighbors that have just been annoyed that there's so many cars in their neighborhood parked all day. So I don't know what we're going to do. Like they're just putting the no parking ordinance in effect, but they're not saying you can't actually be here without a car. So we may try to figure out how to do that, although it'll be hard without a car because that's where we get our power. Although we may get a generator. So all the media is kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do next. So that's kind of like the latest development, but I'll keep you guys posted. All right, bye. Hey guys, just wanted to give you an update outside Nancy's. It is Wednesday night, day 25. The latest that I'm learning, remember all the activity outside the house today. We know now that there were some prosecutors, there were people in suits along with the law enforcement outside the house. I'm now learning those are prosecutors, which is interesting. Not totally unusual. Sometimes prosecutors want to tour a crime scene before it gets released back to the family. What's interesting, though, is NBC News is reporting, and I'm always kind of interested in the NBC News reporting because that's where Savannah works, and obviously they're quoting sources, NBC, that law enforcement is about to turn the house back over to the Guthrie family, which would make sense maybe why they were doing one final sweep today. FBI prosecutors. I know that there was a Pima County homicide detective that was out here. So that may make sense. In terms of why that one SUV went into the garage and the door closed and we didn't see who was in it, I still haven't been able to piece that one together. So that's the latest from out here. We're just kind of packing up. You know, I was telling you guys the situation where we're not going to be allowed to park here anymore starting tomorrow. Seems kind of like a way that they're trying to just get the media out of here. And again, it's weird because a lot of the neighbors really like us because they want to keep the story alive. They knew Nancy, and then others honestly have said they just feel safer just like with the presence out here right now because of like everything that happened. But anyway, nonetheless, they say they're going to fine anybody who's parked out here, I think $250. So we got to figure out our plan for tomorrow. I'm going to try to still find a way to be outside the house. But I'll keep you guys posted. All right, good night. Hey guys, just
So there were a number of neighbors who opened up their driveways for some people, but I don't know, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that any YouTubers were offered a parking spot. Were they? I don't know. Hey, McKiffin, thanks for stopping by. Let's continue. Yeah, yeah. So what happened was the garage door opened. This blacked out SUV drove in, garage door closed, and it stayed in there. I can't remember how long, so I'm not going to say, but like my brain is telling me like half an hour, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. And then backed out and quickly left. So, and that was the same day the prosecutors, the sheriff, the FBI, all of the suits that we saw went into the house. And like I said, the source said that it was Savannah who went in there and that it was possible she had been asked to see if there was anything related to her specifically missing from the house. So it's possible.
guys, so an update. It is now Thursday, day 26 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. I think I told you guys yesterday they're not letting anyone park in the entire neighborhood. They like passed this ordinance trying to keep the media out, which just annoys me. So luckily one of the neighbors, super nice lady, I got to know her and her dog. She messaged me last night and she's like, you can definitely park in my driveway. She lives a little bit far from Nancy's house. Not that far, but so I just parked in her driveway and now I'm gonna walk to Nancy's. And some of my other coworkers are already there. So I really appreciate her. I won't give out her information, but just shout out if you're watching, you know who you are. Super nice of you to reach out to me and let me park in your driveway and help me out. So it's hot today too. Like the timing is not good for this because it was like cool some days and now it's like super sunny and hot. But I'll keep you guys posted with any updates. I'm almost down there and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, see, we're saying the same thing. I know what you meant. It is odd, but the reason that it did that allegedly is because it was Savannah herself in the SUV. People did not want her seen, I guess, going in there, and the reason they protected her like that was so that she could go in and um, check the house for anything missing. We're talking about the same thing. It is odd, but that was the reason it's what I heard. There have been many ladies on JLR's stream, noteworthy ladies. The karaoke lady, saw her. Saw the lady who asked the sheriff to step down, saw her. Um, was there a naked one? Missed that. Missed that. Let's continue. I will. Was there a naked lady? Weird.
Hey guys, so I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house and just kind of give you an idea. Like there are some weird people that show up out here. And so there's this guy in this car right here, a blue car, who literally drove by, like I'm not even joking, like 50 to 100 times very slowly. And like just it was just weird. You would go right by like the memorial and just kept stopping literally 50 to 100 times tonight. And then like one of the other photographers with the media like try to like talk to him and saw that he had like a picture of Nancy Guthrie on his phone in the car and was like looking at it while he was driving by or something for like the 50th time. So anyway, now the sheriff's office is talking to him and they've been talking to him for probably the last 20 minutes or so. And I think they might be trying to get a translator now. So it's probably like nothing, but it is weird. Like there's some real just like creepy people that come by. Um, so anyway, that's kind of the latest outside the house. I just wanted to tell you guys that. Hey guys, so I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house and just Hey guys, so a little update to my previous video about the weird guy who was driving by like literally 50 times with the like picture of Nancy Guthrie on his phone when he looked in the window. He was arrested. It turns out he was arrested for DUI. We kind of watched the whole thing happen right here outside the house. Like they got him out of the car and then they did field sobriety tests and he ended up getting arrested. So they took him away. So it's kind of weird to see that all happen right outside Nancy's house. So that's pretty much the latest from outside here. Obviously, you guys, if you check out my latest episode on YouTube, I talk about this new surveillance video that's come out today, which is interesting from a camera 2.5 miles away, but the timing seems to really match up with when someone may have left Nancy's house when her pacemaker disconnected from her phone. So check that out. And that's really it. And you guys know now there's like no cars allowed on Nancy's street. Hey guys, I'm outside Nancy Guthrie's house.
What do you guys think of that video of the car 2.5 miles away? From what I understand, it's not unusual for cars to be driving around at that time of night. Maybe the location was a little suspect and the timing. So what do you all think of that? You think they have a heavy foot to get there? 7 minutes? I mean, they'd be driving fast if they just kidnapped somebody. But from what I understand, that's a very windy community. So how fast can you truly go without making a spectacle of yourself?
It's day 27 since Nancy went missing. It's Friday. We got a little bit of an update from the Pima County Sheriff. They say this is their exact release. This remains an active investigation and will continue until Nancy Guthrie is located or all leads have been exhausted. The Pima County Sheriff's Office is refocusing resources. I thought this is interesting. Refocusing resources to detectives specifically assigned to this case. As leads are developed and resolved, resource allocation may fluctuate PCSD will maintain a patrol presence in the Guthrie neighborhood. So when they say they're refocusing resources, what I read that as, they had pretty much all the detectives, I'm told, working on the Nancy Guthrie case. And now I think they're just going to have specific detectives assigned to the case so that other detectives can work on other crimes in Pima County. It's one complaint I've heard from locals, like that everybody's just working the Nancy Guthrie case. It's also a reason that I've heard that if they had just given it over to the FBI, they wouldn't have had this problem. But anyway, that's really the latest from them. They haven't said much about that new surveillance video that we showed you from the Ring camera about 2.5 miles away. We know they have it, but they haven't said whether it's now part of the investigation or not. So that's the latest. I'll keep you guys posted if any. Hey guys, so I'm about to walk. I was telling you guys it's about to get really dark, by the way. So I kind of wanted to show you how dark it is out here. I'm about to walk to Nancy Guthrie's house. Remember, we're not allowed to park on the street, so we had to find some neighbors who would let us park in their driveways. And there's actually a couple now. A ton came out today, and they're like, "Oh, you guys can park in our driveway," and a lot. Some are much closer to Nancy's house. But you can see like how dark it is in this neighborhood. There's a full moon, almost a full moon, out here tonight, so that adds a lot of light.
That's crazy how dark that is with a semi-full moon. Absolutely crazy pants. So this update here, how many more? This is the last one. And then I'm going to end this because I'm going live again in just a little under 2 hours to do the candlelight vigil. So let's watch this last one and then we'll talk about what we've heard. And yeah, then we'll take a break. I got to go finish making my dill pickle soup and then we'll reconvene for the vigil.
28 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. It is Saturday. I'm outside Nancy's house. There's literally no one here today. It's like I'm literally the only one out here right now, which is really weird because every other day there's been a lot of media and there's like people talking and you hear the kind of the buzz of the generator and it's just kind of weird to be out here alone. Always just like think about what happened here. But there's not a ton of new developments today. We know that told you guys about the reshuffling of resources. There's not going to be as many detectives assigned to the case with Pima County. FBI says they're going through thousands of hours of video. They've moved some of their people back to Phoenix. So things have slowed down, it seems. But all it takes is one call, and I've seen that with other cases. I saw that with Brian Koberger. And suddenly everything kicks back into gear and something big happens. So we'll see. The news cycle sort of changed, obviously, with everything happening with Iran. So, I think a lot of people are going to move on, which I won't. I mean, I don't know that I'll be able to stay here, obviously, forever, which I can still cover it from home, but I don't have any plans to leave right now. Just because it feels like a long time, but it is only day 28. So hopefully we'll get a good development soon. It's pretty hot out here in Arizona today, but I'll keep you guys posted. Hey guys, so it is day 28.
Yeah, it's maybe later on after the vigil, we'll pull up that video. There are a couple of people who drove by that place, so maybe we'll have a look. We'll have a look later. Yes, dill pickle soup. I can tell you the ingredients and then you have to figure it out yourself. Potatoes, carrots, chicken broth, boil, a little bit of butter, salt, pepper, garlic, bay leaves, a couple of them, simmer, pickles, just as much as you like. I put a whole jar of pickled juice in the soup. Simmer till everything is nice and soft. Dice up your pickles. And then I use sour cream with cornstarch to make to make it thicker. And then you just let it cook until it gets thick. I put cayenne pepper in it for a little bit of kick. Best recipe ever. Marie, you have no idea what you're missing. It is so good. I'm going to make it with grilled cheese and corned beef sandwiches. That's what I'm doing in between now and the candlelight vigil. Dill pickles all the way. So good. So good. I'll send you the actual recipe. It's so good. And so thanks everybody for being here. I know it was a very slow live, not very many people here, but I appreciate every single one of you that did stick with me through this. Little black bear, you're very generous. Thank you so much. And Ron isn't here anymore, but thank you so much again. And hopefully, you guys will join me to watch that candlelight vigil here at, well, it's at 6 o'clock Arizona time. So that would be, what am I in, Pacific or Mountain? I can't remember. I'm the same time zone as Arizona, so it's 6 o'clock. All right, fine. If most of you want your dill pickle soup recipe, I'll send it to y'all. We'll see you in a bit, okay? Thanks. Bye, everybody.
We're going down.